All right. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm going to share the screen so that you can see just a quick PowerPoint that I created to help us make our way through this Evaas presentation as soon as I can get it to go to slideshow. Right. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, Evaas. So for me, when I first moved my way into education and started my career in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg school district, I would hear the term Evaas. All right, let's analyze the data that we got from Evaas this year. And I used to think, what does this mean? Or DDI, and it took me forever to figure out that was data-driven instruction, or PL, personalized learning, or PLCs, professional learning communities. So all of these um, different things can just be confusing. So for starters, Evaas simply stands for Education Value Added Assessment System. So basically, to put it very simple from the start, it is a tool that we can use, or an assessment tool that we can use to just see where our students are. And as we know as educators, assessment is key. That is how we know if our students are learning. And that is the end goal, to make sure that our students are learning and they're becoming productive citizens in an ever-changing society. So as we move through this PowerPoint, hopefully you better understand what Evaas means outside of just knowing what it stands for, which it took me a while to understand that. So remember, Education Value Added Assessment System. Moving on to the next slide. What is Evaas? Okay. Basically, it's value added reporting, and the next slide we'll talk a little bit more about that. Web-based reports provided to North Carolina public and charter schools. So the Evaas report is provided by North Carolina in the state itself. So it provides an objective way to measure student progress. Notice that it does not say student achievement alone, it's student progress. And it provides growth data and achievement data. So the three things that I want us to get from this slide is just to understand the importance behind value-added reporting, growth data, and achievement data. And that is what we are going to move in as we continue on here. Notice the nice little confused guy, because you're probably still confused at this point. So moving on, we'll hopefully change those question marks to a light bulb above his head. All right, value-added assessment. Value-added assessment, which we talked about on the last slide up there at the top. Value-added assessment is a statistical analysis used to measure the academic progress rates of a group of students from year to year in the following areas. Before we move on to kind of chunk all of that together, basically what we're doing is evaluating students. The Evaas report allows us to evaluate students from year to year. And those areas that are provided from the report include the district, the schools, and teachers. Examples of how they assess: they can gather information from the end of grade test or end of course exams. So those are simple ways that they gather their data. So that's just basically what value-added assessment is. It's over a period of time. Year to year is one of the important aspects of value-added assessments. Next here is growth versus achievement. I think as educators, we've heard now that growth is important. How are our students showing growth? It's not just what are their summative assessment scores, or what level did they score on the end of course test or end of grade test. we want to see, you can show growth within a lesson. You can show growth within a unit. So this growth data is a very important part of Evaas. So you measure student progress across a time period. So this could be a year, this could be a month, a week. But for the Evaas scores, they do year to year. Student-specific data on own performance. So you can get very specific, and it's not related to student demographic. It's critical to future student success. It improves needs and strengths, improvement needs, and shows their strength areas. And then if we move over here, comparing this to just strictly achievement data, which both of these, remember, go into the one Evaas report. So it's not like one's better than the other. This is just two ways of assessing an environment. So measure student performance at one single point in time. The difference here, growth data, you have point A to point B. This is just one specific point in time. It's related to student demographics, standard specific. For North Carolina, they utilize those North Carolina essential standards. If you have been a teacher for any period of time, you're very familiar with those. Common Core, and then it's critical to post-secondary achievement. So in order to understand Evaas up here, to me, when I was moving through this, it really helped me to understand what value-added reporting was, as well as growth data and achievement data. All right. What is the purpose behind Evaas? I think that teachers can sometimes get caught up in, oh, we're just teaching to the test, or all we do is collect data. But if we don't collect data, then how are we sure that students are learning? I don't think it should be something that overwhelms a teacher, but I think assessments, and I think having different tools or different reports like what Evaas provides is a way for us to say, hey, our students are learning, or hey, our students are struggling. So that was a little side note, but to get back onto the purpose behind it, along with that, I think that was just a quick overview, is used to ensure growth opportunities for all students ranging from low achievement to high achieving areas. So like I was saying, it allows you to see, hey, what growth is going on in different areas. So if you're at a school, if a school has been having low achievement and they're struggling, Evaas will encourage them, but it doesn't forget about the high achieving schools or students as well. Make informed data-driven decisions that were about where to focus resources to ensure student growth and achievement. So basically you can use these reports to implement data-driven instruction. You can see where your students are struggling and what type of teaching methods can be implemented and utilized within the school from this report. It allows you to think of professional development ideas for your staff. Maybe you notice that, hey, we need to provide students with more ownership. They need to take ownership in their learning. So from the Evaas report, we decided, hey, let's move forward with personalized learning. Teaching strategies. So like I was saying, different teaching strategies like personalized learning or close reading. All of these things can be implemented from an Evaas report. And then just more technology resources. Also, a way that it can be used is through collaboration between districts and schools, a way to just maybe bounce ideas off of each other and really collaborate through the different reports. So how could it be used? I thought of my specific school, Mint Hill Middle. Sorry, I'm just drove for my sports team, and I am in an office while they're playing, and I have to represent with my Mint Hill t-shirt. So how it could be used at Mint Hill Middle? I think it's a great tool to track student growth and achievement. Database that we use is Mastery Connect. It's just a way for us to track growth after map testing or mock EOGs. So that's an example of how we would collect data to utilize or to use alongside of an Evaas report. Of course, we would get it through the end of course test, or the EOGs is what we would have at Mint Hill Middle. We can utilize this data for proper professional development. I think we are always looking for new ways that we can ensure that our teachers are developing and growing and becoming better teachers, because we all have room to improve. So through the Evaas report, it allows us to come up with and think of new teaching strategies that will be helpful. Different data-driven instructions that we can implement into the classroom, along with new technology, and how we can use the one-to-one Chromebook initiative that we have more effectively through the Evaas report. And then I just think it would be great if we started collaborating with the feeding schools like Bain Elementary, which is right down the road. It's a K-5 school. And, with the high schools, so that we're all on the same page. What does your Evaas report look like compared to ours? What are you doing to get that kind of report, and so forth? So through this, it's been very helpful to understand a little bit more about what Evaas means. If you forget what it stands for, Education Value Added Assessment System. Hopefully you've learned more about Evaas through this presentation. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed.